Hello, good evening. I am Joseph Filmography, and I'm done. After about 10 months of work, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask Reborn has finally come to a close. But I do have to make a little bit of a confession. For those who are new here, the video's title is a little bit misleading. I mentioned in the title that I remade the soundtrack for Majora's Mask, which is absolutely true, but is a massive freaking understatement, because making the soundtrack a bit prettier has already been done. What I wanted to do was take that a step further and rescore the game and then get all of that music functioning within the game. And that's what you saw in the trailer a brief moment ago, because all of the music I've made is fully set up and functional in Majora's Mask 3D. So today's video is going to be very brief. We've discussed what's out, so I want to tell you where you can find it, how you can experience it, and what comes next. Not just for my channel, but for Majora's Mask Reborn, because if you think we're done with this thing, oh, you've got a big surprise coming. As I've mentioned countless times before, Majora's Mask Reborn consists of 3 elements: soundtrack album, art book, and game mod. The soundtrack can be found in 2 places. First off, you can find the whole 3.5 hours of it on a YouTube video that will go live as soon as this one is finished. Second, if you want to download the album or listen to tracks individually, you can find that on my Bandcamp page, where you can download it totally for free or listen for free within the Bandcamp app. I know someone's gonna ask about Spotify or YouTube Music or iTunes or whatever, and rest assured, I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure out how licensing stuff works, so maybe in the next month or 2, I'll be able to get that up on Spotify, but for now, you can find it on YouTube and for free on Bandcamp. Next up is the art book, where I got to work with several very talented artists to make some beautiful little pieces that'll go with this game. You'll see all of them when you watch the soundtrack video on YouTube, and you can also download them, again, for free. When you download the album on Bandcamp, all of these pieces are included with the soundtrack, so you'll install that as a zip file, and it'll have every single song and all of those art pieces in that folder. And last but not least is the game mod. Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos, but as of right now, my score is only functional within Majora's Mask 3D. It is not functional in the Nintendo 64 version yet. We will discuss that in a minute. If you want to get to experience this for yourself, you can head over to the page on Game Banana. It's going to be linked down in the description. On that page, you'll be able to find installation instructions, both for the Citra emulator and 3DS hardware versions of the game. And something else I should mention, I understand that the Project Restoration mod for Majora's Mask 3D is quite popular. In fact, I myself only ever play with Project Restoration on ever since it first came out. And so several people have wondered if my music is compatible with that. Yes, it absolutely is. And if you're playing on Citra with Narrow's HD texture packs, then my music also works with that. So however it is that you want to play Majora's Mask 3D, you'll be able to experience it with my music. And that leads us into the next segment about what comes next. See, I had some kind of lofty goals and aspirations for this project, and stuff that I knew from the very beginning was going to be unrealistic to achieve, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay unrealistic forever. See, if you want to be able to play the original Majora's Mask with my music in it, you're not going to be out of luck for too much longer, because decompilation of Majora's Mask is currently in progress. Once that's finished, we can dive in and rework the audio tools to be able to support my music, and then no matter how you want to play this game, you will be able to experience it with my music in it. On top of that, the soundtrack album includes multiple variations upon pieces. There's multiple variations of Termina Field, multiple variations of the boss theme, and I think a couple of other things I put in there. The cave theme is one. And a couple people have asked if there's going to be a way to replace the default versions of these themes with some of my alternate variations. And the good news is, yes. The bad news is, it's going to be a little bit unintuitive, but it is going to be possible. Though it isn't done yet because I just haven't implemented those variations, and frankly, I'm ready to take a break from this thing, In about a week, you can expect to see a new video where I talk about how you'll be able to experience this game with the different variations in it. Pretty much, I'm just going to do an update to the mod that'll include the files, and you're going to have to manually replace the files, but I'll make sure to put some pretty detailed instructions so nobody gets lost, because believe me, I understand the feeling of getting very lost with modding. So that's pretty much where Majora's Mask Reborn is sitting right now. The soundtrack album is complete, the art book is complete, and the 3DS version is complete. I'm going to go for that 110%, adding a little bit extra if you want those extra variations of music, but it's a complete product right now. Now for the immediate future, if 106 tracks, 3.5 hours worth of Majora's Mask music isn't enough to scratch your Zelda itch, I actually have great news, because you can expect to see my next Zelda album in exactly 2 weeks. See, I'm gonna be releasing a deluxe version of A Dream's End, which was my Link's Awakening album from about 1.5 years ago. There were a couple of things I had wanted to do on that album that I didn't get the chance to do, the big one being recording vocals. And in the time since then, I've had a chance to do that, so in 2 weeks I will be releasing a new and improved, updated version of that. But something tells me y'all might want more than just a little Link's Awakening synth album. And I have a sneaking suspicion that if you like Majora's Mask Reborn this much, you might be interested in an Ocarina of Time Reborn as well. Luckily for you, I'm also interested in Ocarina of Time Reborn, but not for a while. This project was absolutely massive, and while I loved working on it, I need a freaking break. And Ocarina of Time Reborn is coming, but it will take time. You can expect that in probably about a year. The absolute earliest is going to be summer of 2024, but more than likely, that'll be the winter. So we'll see what happens. So in the meantime, here's what you can expect to see from me. I'm going to be returning to a lot more of my normal style of content, where I just dive into video game art and development stuff and talk about things that I find really interesting in video games. If you want a really good example of that, you can check out my Magic Caves video from a couple months ago. That one's really good, where we just kind of look at some underappreciated moments in video games. So I'll definitely be doing more of that, but I'll also be getting into modding other games. I'm really interested in Skyrim modding. I started on that a couple months ago, but didn't have time to get too into it because of Majora's Mask. So I'm thinking I'll probably be getting into that. Let me know if that's something you'd want to hear, or if there's any other games you'd want to see me mod. Let me know. I'd be happy to check them out and at least look into the possibility of it. I know Lethal Company has a big modding scene. I might try doing some audio stuff for that. We'll see. And I was considering maybe live streaming Majora's Mask 3D, doing a sort of developer commentary where I talk about the music, I talk about my process, and maybe things I'd like to change or add in the future. So if that would be interesting to you, please let me know in the comments down below and maybe we'll set that up. And that's about it. So brief timetable recap. In 1 week, I'll be releasing the extra variations for Majora's Mask Reborn. In 2 weeks, I will be releasing the new version of A Dream's End, and beyond that, maybe I'll be streaming the game if any of you would want to check that out, and I will start working on some other projects, and then in a few months, I will start on Ocarina of Time Reborn. And that's going to be a very fun one, so you're not going to want to miss it. And last but not least, I just want to say thank you to all of you, because the support on this project has frankly been breathtaking. The amount of overwhelming positivity and enthusiasm all of you have been giving has really encouraged me and helped me keep going on making this thing. So thank you all for all of your support, and especially thank you to everyone who's come to and especially a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting me on Patreon. I've actually gotten a lot of people who have subscribed to my free tier on Patreon, and I have 4 paid members now. So that would be Late to Work Panda, Nigel, the Holy Woomy with 69 nuggets of toasted chaos, and 5 Steps. Thank you specifically to the 4 of you for bankrolling this thing. It really means the world to me, and I'm happy I could give you something that you think is worth such kindness. And with that, I'm pretty much done. Halo Infinite's Firefight came out like a couple weeks ago, and I've barely gotten a chance to play it because of this thing, so I'm gonna go do that now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am out. Enjoy the show.